Hey guys, welcome back to the Mulesoft video series part 3. So far we have looked into the Anypoint platform features such as vCore's API design structure and the SLDC of Mulesoft APIs, deployment targets and the development and testing tools. In today's video we will be extensively focusing on RAML, the REST API modeling language which Mulesoft uses for its design. If you recall RAML from my previous videos, I said RAML is an indentation based modeling language. So basically, it works on indentations, recognizing its tags and attributes, which comes from a predefined set. RAML is called a modeling language for one obvious reason. The API specification made by RAML acts as a foundation model for the actual API which we develop in Studio. So we can call the RAML as a contract medium between our user and the MULE program. So let us explore this top of the hierarchy, which is RAML. If you are just new to RAML and haven't heard about it, you have absolutely come to the right place. But I sincerely advise you to read the RAML 100 and RAML 200 documentation from raml.org instead of just relying on videos. So what makes RAML and the Design Center so good? What is so special about it? Well, we have found out there's just one word to answer: discreteness. Unlike any other Java or Android-based technology tools such as Eclipse or Android Studio, Mulesoft is successful in separating design from development almost 100%, whereas its counterpart tools such as Eclipse begin its design while actually developing. Hence, technologies like Eclipse, there is no separate design code and development code. In fact, Eclipse just consider both the same. Enough with the theory. So let's move ahead and create an API specification using RAML. So before you start with RAML, you need to focus on these things. So in this lesson you will be learning about root file, indentations, resource and methods, examples and schemas, traits, data types, resource types, direct and indirect representation of examples, schemas, traits, etc. and last but not the least, errors and the data formats which you can use in RAML. So first, you hit on Design Center. Next, you go ahead and create your API specification. Click on Create API Specification. Now I'm going to name it as My Salesforce API. You have a text editor and a visual editor for you to choose. We'll go with the text editor. Now the language which we choose is RAML 1.0. Save the location as Design Center and create specification. Upon creation of your API specification, a root file is generated. This file is the primary source file our MULE Studio recognizes for building the MULE app scaffolding in it. So think of the root file as a Java main method for ease of understanding. If you want to create files, then click on New File or create a new folder. You can select the type of the file. Here in our case, we have RAML 1.0 OS Swagger, and you can select the type of the file category. It can be specification, data types, schemas, etc. You can change your file name by changing the api.raml. Now we're going to delete this file as we don't need it. We will go ahead with the root file which we have by default. Now here we have a title. The title is a specific syntax. It's a predefined tag which you have to use so that you can name your API specification design. Under projects.errors, you can see the kind of errors which this API is going to create. If you add any other text more than what's required, then it's going to throw you a conflict with a red mark indication. Here it shows you that the titles property is not supported in RAML 1.0 because it's not able to recognize it. So you have to also remember that you cannot have syntax apart from what's predefined. Now we're gonna create a version. The version is 1.0. We create a base URI. In our case, the base URI is http mysalesforceemployeelist.com/API. You can change your base URI as per your convenience, but remember that this base URI is the final URI your app is going to get deployed at. You have to make sure that your application will be deployed at this URI. You can choose your media type as application/JSON because that's the way our API is going to communicate to and fro with the user. Now, as we need some kind of security for our RAML, we go ahead and create a security scheme, and we'll try to retrieve it from an external folder called as common. And we create a security scheme.raml with a category security scheme. Under the type, you say basic authentication. Now you can give description for your basic authentication. Now we are going to create a resource called as employee list, and it's going to accept only post method. You also need to make sure that any tag which comes under employee list should be given with the proper indentation. What I mean by this is the description tag, which I'm currently specifying, should be under employee list but not on the same hierarchical level employee list is. All the other tags such as get, post, put, update, delete should be under the tag of employee list but not anywhere else. So you can use these vertical indicators on the screen to make sure that the tag which you're specifying is actually following under the parent tag. For time being, I would change the method as get and give that a description. So the description comes under get. And when I say anything coming under a specific tag, you have to make sure that the indentation structure is properly followed. Now you have to define the body and the type of the body, application/JSON. Now you can go ahead and specify an example. In our current case, we are going to take the example from a folder called as examples. So we go ahead and create a folder examples and create a JSON file named as postemployees.json, which has all the list of employees which Salesforce has. Now you have to specify the response structure which you're gonna send back to your user upon retrieval of the information. The response is going to be at 201. Here we can describe the example by direct representation or an indirect representation. If I say that we can represent it with the help of indirect representation, then it means that you can fetch that particular example from an external file. You can also represent it directly on the screen as given. So we are completed with our root RAML file. Almost. Now we'll create some traits. Here the name of the trait is special trait. You can name it as per your convenience. And we are trying to include this trait from an external file, and hence that representation, you go ahead and create a trait and name it as traits.raml, which falls under the category traits. Here I'm gonna define traits like headers, which has client ID and client secret. Both of them needs a type, and the type is string. And we need both these headers, and for that reason I mention it as mandatory with the help of the syntax required true. We go ahead and create query parameters. The name of our query parameters is employee special ID. You can give it display name so that that display name gets recognized by this particular RAML file, and this query parameter is mandatory. Now you can choose to mock your service. Soon enough, when you click on mocking service, a custom URI is going to appear on your screen. Using that URI, you can go ahead and hit your API without actually developing it. Here on the right side, you can see the calls which you can make, the body which you need to send for our request, the resource, and you can see the response which gets generated once if a user requests this resource by sending a post body. The response is going to be record created. Copy this mocking URI which got generated, paste it in a new tab, and hit enter. If you are trying to access that particular resource, then you have to indicate the name of the resource while you're trying to call it. Now the error response has changed, and it's saying that the method is not allowed to call post. So I'm going to change my method. Now you go ahead and hit your application back using the mocking URI. it's going to send you a response record created. Here you can see the securities, the endpoints, the kind of request which you can make. You can also view it in a tabular format. So once again, if you're trying to access employee list with this mocking URI, you're gonna get a proper response record created, and hence our API is successful. We are just finished with our root implementation with some basic features like traits, security schemes, resources, methods, and the examples. So in our next video, we will look at libraries, resources, and data types. Hope you like this content so far. Please comment and subscribe to my channel. Bye.